Welcome to the Backyard Professor Responds videos. So I'm going to shift gears and we're going to talk about Ross Coulthart's brand new video out where he shows what he calls extraordinary and extremely clear video of UFOs and aliens, which he is reviewing with Magic Mike Battiasta, who is one of the psionics, one of the former psionics of the Skywatcher team. Battiasta says he has been regularly visited by UFOs. He is continuing his psionics activity with them, communicating with them telepathically, and that he has lots of really excellent videos. He claims he has video actually where he has called in UFOs and they've landed, and he has seen aliens. And this really excited Ross Coulthart on News Nation. In the spirit of critical thinking, of analyzing the data, which is what we're all for. I also watched Chris Ramsey, Area 52, today at lunch, one of his new videos. And I happen to agree with him entirely. We don't all agree, but the amazing thing that is happening today is that not only YouTube content creators, but news outlets, government agencies, even Congress with the hearings, everyone is talking about this subject because it does interest us. And this is remarkable. And so we want to keep that spirit of inquiry rolling forward. At the same time, we need to recognize that not all evidence is on the same par. And I will just tell you the answer right now. I am just very disappointed, once again, unfortunately, with the style, kind, and quality of the evidence that Ross Coulthart has put out. And this is unfortunate, but we need to take a look at this and analyze it so that we can say, look, UFOs are real. We have really phenomenal historical records as well as military records for the past 70 to 80 years, which our good friend Richard Dolan in our community has been analyzing for decades, and we're very grateful for that. The sensationalist hype of the quality of some evidence doesn't improve the evidence. And let me show you what I mean. Now, I was watching Patrick from Vetted when he broke this story. I went to the interview itself between Ross Coulthart and Magic Mike Battiasta, and I saw the entire interview. The clips that Patrick picked are the clips I think are probably the most crucial for an analysis of the type of quality that I want to talk about. So I'm going to just simply use Vetted's chosen clips, not all of them, but just a couple of them, to give you an idea and a feeling of what is quality evidence. And in this process, we become wiser because here we have a world-class journalist. This is not just some fly-by-night Harry John Joe who is putting out a I-tripe. He's got actual video clips, or at least they claim that's what they have. Let's take a look and I'll show you what I mean.
What's up, Betters? Patrick here with Vetted. It seems that a new psionic asset from Skywatcher has come forward, and we've got allegedly some of the most amazing footage ever recorded. Alien entities, all kinds of stuff, right? And more importantly, Magic Mike Battiasta used to work for Skywatcher. I'm not sure if he still does, but he is confirming the landing that happened for Skywatcher, right? The UFO that landed that I reported on, I don't know, a few weeks ago. How is Skywatcher going to catch something that they summon with psionics?
They have already.
They've already captured something?
I know for a fact that like people from NASA and the military have already been there with them, and they've had a landing.
Holy shit. So he's confirming that happened. And not only that, he's telling the story of what happened. He's responsible for landing the craft, and he's got video footage of this landing. Now, I don't know anything about NASA present or any of that, so maybe there's a different one, but he said there's several landings. So maybe this is a different one. I don't know, but, you know, we're going to dive into it. So
this is one reason why I wanted to use Patrick, because I went and watched that previous video. It's about a 12-minute clip of, it was late at night and they were watching the sky. And Carl Crusher told him, he said, look, you can't have the lights on to video me and watch the sky. So pick your poison. Which do you want? And so he chose to turn the lights off, but they kept talking and Carl knew that he was videoing. And this was news to me. I'm a little behind the times on Skywatcher because they have been so bitterly disappointing in the past that I gave up on them more or less. They're just not that impressive of an organization, in my opinion. And now they're claiming there have been several landings and that they do have video. Well, again, a claim, no evidence. So I am to the point with Skywatcher, and after what I show you tonight, I am to the point with Ross Coulthart that if you don't start giving me some damn better evidence, I'm done with you. Really, seriously. The quality of the presentation needs vast improvement, as we will take a look. And Patrick does a great job of picking the important clips out of the entire interview that Ross did with Magic Mike. I don't know why they call him Magic Mike, but that really does not help, you know, with his credibility at all. Let's keep looking.
So let's learn a little bit more about who Mike Battiasta is.
A Green Beret, former Green Beret, Magic Mike Battiasta is joining us. Welcome, Mike. Good to have you here.
Happy to be here.
Mike's a former U.S. Army Green Beret. I think you got out in 2023. Is that Mike? Right, Mike?
It was around 2021.
2021, was it? Right. Mike's also been one of the psionics working very closely with Jake Barber's Skywatcher group, doing the psionic summoning. And in the course of the last few years, Mike's been seeing and experiencing, often in his private capacity outside of his work with Skywatcher, some quite extraordinary phenomena. And we're going to show you a video today that, frankly, is extraordinary. And I challenge anyone to provide me with a prosaic explanation for what we're about to show you.
And I think Ross Coulthart here is overplaying his hand, because there is a very natural prosaic explanation for the very cheap, non-impressive evidence that they show in this clip. And I will share with you my prosaic explanation. And it's so unfortunate that Coulthart is putting so much emphasis on such shoddy evidence. And I am being very charitable here, as you're about to see. And the reason I wanted to use Patrick is because, you know, he's accused of being kind of a grifter and all that too. He's a reporter. He is sharing the news of what is happening in the community, and he's providing a very valuable service. But even he is, quite frankly, for lack of a better description, stumped at the way overblown impressiveness that Ross Coulthart tries to make this evidence. And I am entirely with Patrick on that. I'm just not impressed at all. And it's too bad because I should be. They need to do better. Let's keep watching.
I think potentially what Mike is about to show us today is momentous. Is it imagery of a non-human intelligence? Magic Bike Mike Battiasta, welcome. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
Reality Check. Good to have you here.
Happy to be here.
All right, so let's jump into the landing once and for all.
So when did the landing incident occur?
Oh, there were several of those. The one they're revealing today, that occurred in April of 2023.
So they've landed UFOs psionically, and this video is from 2023. And Ross Coulthart introduced Skywatcher in 2025. Now, there's not a contradiction here as it appears, and that's why I'm stopping and commenting here, because the psionics group part of Skywatcher was operating before Jake Barber even met them. He was a helicopter pilot, and he was just going to grab the goods as a helicopter pilot. And it just happened that the group of psionic people that Barber eventually hooked up with are the ones that brought that egg down. And then that was the infamous egg video of the Jake Barber fiasco that Coulthart did in early, what was it, February, March, something like that. And since then, we've just literally heard very little about any of it. They were supposed to do a great big long fantastic series and expose and all that, and now we're hearing from Gary Nolan, who has also joined the Skywatchers as a scientist in order to help them analyze the data. We hear just recently, just a few weeks ago, that they are in that process of analyzing the data, etc. But between March or April, and we're almost in October. I mean, the first day of fall is Monday, right? And we've heard or seen literally nothing whatsoever. And yet they are supposed to have been busy. So I'm not quite sure what the whole background package is that they've been doing. It really doesn't matter for my purposes tonight. Let's keep going, and we'll see something extraordinarily shocking. And not because Ross Coulthart is impressed.
How that came about, what was happening? Why do you think that this alleged landing of what I say this with a laugh because it is just such confronting imagery, what we're about to show the public. It is extraordinary. How did this happen?
Well, this is after a year and change of just being outside every night, like interacting with the phenomenon and building that relationship, but still not understanding my purpose in this or why they're visiting me, almost like loitering. And I want to say harassing, but they're like, hey, we're getting his attention. If you're this hyper intelligent species, this non-human intelligence, that's way far more advanced than us, then just land. I was like, do it. Like, are you too scared to land? I was almost antagonizing, the connection in my mind. And because I was frustrated, I didn't know why this was happening. And, I didn't think they were going to do it. And they called my bluff.
Now, I have to admit, this is interesting to hear the story. Again, some more details are still needed, even though this is a really long interview, which I highly recommend checking out. Don't worry, we're about to get into some footage, photos, all kinds of different things, really just video footage that I guess they've had screenshots too, and that sort of thing. So
my impression of this at this point is that this gentleman spent many, many, many nights building a rapport with the entities. They kept coming back. They were hanging out, etc. Now, this becomes critically important. He was part of the now, and this has just recently happened since he broke away from Skywatcher this year, 2025. And all he has is his phone to take video. You're spending night after night after night after night, and all you can use is your phone. How could it not register to get a really good camera and other equipment as far as that goes? How could that not register? Because he's clearly intent on this rapport, this relationship, in order to gather video of the encounters and of him calling them in and asking them to land and show themselves to him. This just does not jive with someone who's calling in UFOs. I'm trying very, very hard not to be skeptical. But what you're about to see is going to show you why I'm simply saying no. And that's unfortunate. That Coulthart is so impressed is what shocks me more than the completely lousy character of the evidence.
I'm looking at the sky and very clear night. And after expressing this frustration, I see something very high up in the sky, like some you see like a satellite or something, but it was blue and it was going by overhead and it ejected something out of the back of it. And it had its own like light source, almost looked like a shooting star got ejected out of the bottom of an orb.
Mike, at this stage, you're holding your phone up, a cell phone, and you're filming what you're seeing, correct?
Yeah, I believe that was shot on a Galaxy.
Okay. What did they say to you about your dog? Tell me that story.
So again, it was like infant stage of NHI communication. And, you know, I asked them to land and then I instantly got this thought response back in my brain saying, we'll land, but only if you put your dog away in the crate. And I was like, oh, that's a strange request because I usually have, my dog has seen more aliens than anybody. Okay, he's always with me. And, you know, but he's Belgian Shepherd, Belgian Malinois, Dutch Shepherd mix. And, you know,
they're a very big, fierce dog. They're used by a lot of people in special forces, but they're
Absolutely.
A terrifying animal, aren't they? They're a very fierce
Absolutely.
dog.
So I was like, all right, sorry, dude, you know, you have to sit this one out, you know. So I brought him back outside and then that's when something ejected out of the bottom, and then you could see it slowly, you know, coming down until it.
Okay, so we saw part of his phone video here. I did not see any kind of video that he appears to be describing in that video clip. That is some of the most worthless video clip I have ever seen. And I am trying to be charitable here. That's useless. That does nothing. Now, what's remarkable is as I watched the interview on News Nation, as I was listening to it, I was going through the comments, and there's thousands of them. I mean, when I got on, it was 175,000 views, and it was just 4 or 5 hours old. It wasn't very old at all. And fully half of the comments are saying the same thing. They're saying, what is this? No. I can take better video with my 20-year-old cell phone. from way back when than what we just saw here. And this isn't the only video clip. Now, you'll notice it is so jumpy. It is so fuzzy as to be literally unidentifiable whatsoever. So what they did next is a travesty, in my opinion, and it borders on dishonesty, in my opinion. They simply stop and take screenshots entirely out of context of some parts of this truly worthless piece of evidence. And that's where they start describing aliens on a blue box and all the evidence of the spacecraft. You can see the alien peeking his head around, and there's one particular conglomeration of light and dark where Ross identifies, see, there's the alien's two eyes, and there's the mouth and all that. And it's utterly breathtakingly incompetent. I have not been so shocked since the egg video months and months and months ago. And this, unfortunately, is worse than the egg video fiasco. Let's keep watching. This is a valuable lesson to learn how to analyze evidence. So let's keep watching. This is really a great test for analyzing.
It just started to get closer and closer. And then, you know, once it got in proximity of me within 100 feet, as it was closing in, it did something to me that affected, you know, affected me physiologically in a way that almost made me docile or compliant, which I thought was strange. Almost like not a dreamlike state or a trance, but like it was way too casual for me at the time to be seeing that happen.
Well, you're about to have a close encounters of the fifth kind. You're about to meet, allegedly, something non-human. I would be pretty excited and possibly a little bit scared. I can hear your respiration on the video. You're breathing far more quickly than normal, I think.
Right. And so when it was coming down and it finally hits the ground, I'm standing there and I'm looking at it. I'm like, what is that? I didn't have a frame of reference, you know, because I hadn't seen something like that yet. So I'm staring it down. And
here is what is so puzzling to me. Why are you just describing the video? Why are you describing what happened and not showing the video of it happening? I mean, remember, he's been doing this apparently several evenings anyway. We don't know exactly how often, but you would think that he would have videoed the thing coming down and hitting the ground, and then the entity shows up and all that. Seriously? You're not going to show the video and describe the video? All you're going to do is talk to us about it. I don't get that.
And it's staring me down, and then there's also a chicken nearby, and we're all staring each other down. And it almost looked as surprised to see me as I was to it. So
now, Mike, in that freeze and zoom, you see it looks like some kind of translucent white-blue face, but it's not a human face. It's two black dots for eyes. It looks like a sort of a dot for the mouth, and it's a long ovaloid head.
Is it on the ground or still in the air at this point? I can't see the video.
I think it's still in the air at this point. It seems to be metamorphosizing out of nothing.
Right. So as it was coming down, it looked like ethereal, like if they're interdimensional. Maybe.
This is what just is so unconvincing to me. The actual video, one, is so bloody shaky to be completely useless. I promise I'm trying to be charitable. And it's jiggling. it's completely out of focus. And then he zooms in and it's on a phone camera. And so what we get is really magnified pixelation. And from that frozen pixelation, fuzzy as all get out. And you can see in the video that the black dots are moving all around and the white is moving all around and all that. They're not just staying in one place moving. They're just virtually all over the place. But at the place where they freeze it, then Coulthart makes out an alien face. This is just not acceptable. That folks, that's not evidence. That's not evidence. Sorry.
Maybe it was, still materializing in the third dimension. And as it got closer, I remember it started morphing like this and pulled one of these, and it was shape shifting into all these different, things. I don't know what they were.
Okay, based on what we see in the video, because this gentleman did not prepare and get a really good camera set up on a tripod so that it would be steady, but instead he's holding by hand a telephone camera and all that. And now he describes it as shape-shifting. But what we saw in the video is the shapes are shifting because the focus is so bad and he's jittering so bad. So they stop at a shape that somewhat resembles an alien. Later on, they stop at a particular jiggling pause in the freeze frame, and it reminds them of a petroglyph, etc. But in the quick instant in the video, it goes from looking like a petroglyph right back to a blob, etc. This is just not convincing. This doesn't cut the mustard. I'm entirely unimpressed and skeptical about this whole charade. And it is due to the quality of the evidence that I am unimpressed. Now, these men have money. Sincerely, I'm not asking for the world. It's like someone in the comments said, they said, good Godfrey, man, you could get a $300 GoPro camera and get vastly superior quality than what we're seeing here. We're not asking you to invest $1 million in camera equipment to give us a decent video. Now, this gentleman was doing it night after night. He was he knew he was going to have things like this happen. Why on earth would you not think of getting a better camera? It simply escapes me. And I believe there is a very, very negative reason, and I really don't want to go that route tonight. It's very unflattering, but it's a lot more realistic than what they're trying to fob off on us here as something, a valid encounter with a UFO and an alien that he called in psionically, and it hit the ground and then began to stare at him and move. And no.
Where you have to take a closer look at it until it turned into something that you would see on a petroglyph, right?
I want to stop you.
Now understand that image that they just now stopped on, they zoomed in even closer so that they could get the real good comparison. But in the actual video, it flicked in and out in just a matter of 100th of a second because everything was moving and flickering. So for them to find a place to stop and then magnify, look, here's the petroglyph in the actual video, you never would have seen that. You would have never thought there's a petroglyph comparison because it would have flashed by so fast and changed, and because he's moving around so much. To me, that is the fatal defect of this entire presentation. And Coulthart tries to make a big whoopee about this and many other instances. Let me show you the petroglyph, and then I'm done commenting on this. I will leave a link in the description below this video here for you to pursue on your own. It is very educational, by the way, to go to this video and read the comments. Now, it's been 8 hours since I've read the comments. I can just imagine there's thousands of more comments, and I can guarantee they are not pleased, they are not complimentary, and they are entirely justified in their skepticism of this quality and this kind of fobbing off on the public what appears to me to be just ridiculous. If you can't do better than this, don't even bother making a video, because the credibility is in free fall right now, literally. That's all I'm going to say at this point. Let's keep watching for just another moment. What Coulthart does here is ridiculous, in my opinion.
You there for a moment. It looks like almost like it's got wings. You see the head, and then you see bluey white protuberances out to each side.
It came down as it looked like a cube with something sticking out the top, and then it started morphing into certain things, and then it turned into something you see on a petroglyph. And then
I literally saw nothing of what they were describing in any of those blobs while they were, doing whatever they were doing. He says they're morphing. Do they really morph that fast and free and uselessly in front of you? Really? What would the point of that be? And then when they freeze frame it at a specific spot, oh yeah, hey, there's the petroglyph, but it looks like an angel here. Oh, look, there's a cube there. I didn't see any of that, and I am really trying. I've watched this clip a dozen times. I don't see anything they're describing. It just doesn't work. This is not a good way. This is not a good way to present evidence. This is a lesson in how not to do it, not in how to do it. And then finally, and let me get to this part. This is so ridiculous because they had to zoom in and freeze on this specific part only, leaving out all of the other context.
And after that, I saw a humanoid looking form of it. And he was like wearing a skin tight metallic purple suit, greenish, grayish, bluish skin. It was nighttime in the camera. And then after that, that's when it appeared as what you're talking about. And in the video, like when I was seeing it in person for the first time, I was like, oh, that kind of looked like an angel to me, because it kind of had like the wings like this and like a light emanating at the top, like a halo. But as it got closer, it wasn't that, stereotypical, image of an angel you get, when you think of the Bible. It was a solid craft that was lit up in that way.
Now, look, I have to admit, if I just saw the video footage, what are we looking at? I'm just being honest. Okay. I'm just going to be raw here.
Exactly. I am so right there with Patrick on this one. There is no contest. Now, what he is describing is quite remarkable, but it doesn't match this video coverage that we just saw at all. And my impression is he had quite a while, several encounters and days to prepare for something like this with some really good equipment, and he didn't. Now that's inexcusable. I mean, the guy worked for Skywatcher. He knows the quality and the standard of Skywatcher, what they wanted to achieve. Why would you, once you break off, would you lessen that and get crap evidence like this and think you're going to impress people and get called to Congress to testify and show them stupid stuff like this? I don't think so. I truly don't think so. Yeah, let's get through Patrick's bewilderment here and get to that petroglyph. I think that's coming up next. It is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen, because this thing is shifting and moving and blobbing around and in and out of focus so fast that you couldn't possibly have thought petroglyph in the 100th of a second that you see the specific shape that they stop the camera on to make the parallel. And it's absolutely ridiculous methodology. Truly embarrassing for Ross.
I want to see something, but I don't. It just looks like blurry blobs, if I'm being honest. Now, with Mike Battiasta's, witness testimony with it, all right, that adds a little bit more, but it still seems interesting. Now, I will admit, having gone out into the field myself to do this, your real world experience versus what you capture on video is totally different. And I know that for a fact. I mean, astronomically different. So you could have a profound experience and what you get on video doesn't match. I've seen it. It happens. But with that said, the video footage it's almost like Ross is looking for things that aren't there, right? Like he wasn't there. So I don't know, just like we're seeing faces. But I will admit, some of the images we're about to see here in a moment are a little more compelling, but still, very ambiguous. But let's continue. Now, this next one is an interesting one because it's like a mist with some sort of cube in it, right?
Now, I'm also going to add my experience too. I do agree with what Patrick is saying. It's one thing to demand people get really good, clear video, etc. It's another thing to go out there and produce it yourself. I also have had experiences like that. And so I get it. But there is, unfortunately, with the video that Battiasta is showing and Ross is commenting upon, there doesn't appear to be any correlation at all, and nothing even close to correlation. And it's going to be the same thing with this blue cube we're about to see, and it's the same thing with the petroglyph parallel that we see. In reality, in the video, in less than 100th of a second, it comes and goes. You can't even register that you've already seen a blue cube, and now they're going to freeze it and show it to you. You can't even register, oh, hey, that looked like a petroglyph to me. No, because by then, it's already flashed 1,000 more shapes in his very shaky, lousy video. But by freezing it, now I see it. Therefore, it was an alien. No, that doesn't work. That is illegitimate methodology.
And you really just see the screenshot. It'd be nice to see the video that this comes from, but it could be just a photo. Take a look.
Not that high up, like a satellite. It was a blue mist, and there was this transparent cube in the mist, which I snapped a picture of as well. And that was the start of this journey.
So just talk to that blue cube for a moment, Mike, and talk about it for me.
Okay, so Patrick thinks this is something different, not this particular video that we saw. And now Mike is saying, yeah, I saw that blue cube and I took a picture. You have video capability. I get that you want to take pictures, but why just pictures? Why not the video as well? Maybe the pictures are more clear. I don't know. So this part is a little bit confusing. Again, if he took a picture because the cube disappeared just shortly into squiggles and wiggles and blobs and unfocused morass of nothing, then I get it. I see why you stopped using the video and taking the pictures, because there is nothing here to see that's valid. That's the problem. It's the sharpshooter fallacy, the Texas sharpshooter fallacy, in my opinion. You're circling circles around the target that you've hit, but you're ignoring the thousands of misses, the blobs, the virtual nothing there that speaks alien or UFO. I agree with Patrick. Just watching the video, there is no way without this commentary you would even think, oh, that's a UFO, and oh, hey, that reminded me of a pet. Nobody would see that. So that's the defect here. And it's fatal, in my opinion. It's fatal. Ross can't make any more silly videos like this and maintain his presence in the UFO world as a leader of knowledge. That can't be done anymore. His back is literally against the wall.
Yeah, so it was just hovering, just stationary in the sky, and it looked like the cube inside was transparent, and it was kind of moving like this, and then it just kind of drifted and faded away. And I was on the phone, so I was like, I told him exactly what was happening, and then I didn't think much of it. I just thought it was cool, until the next day, and then the next day and the next day, where I was consistently being visited by this phenomenon daily since then. And it was almost like they showed up and they're like, hey, we're not leaving. Like, we're here. Like, the faster you get over it, faster we can get back to business type thing. So,
I mean, again, Ross here is going to go over the video footage, and it just seems like we're finding faces and things that aren't there. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Is there something there? Right. Again, with Mike's testimony, it does, you need context, I guess, overall.
You need good equipment overall. Look, if this happened the first day, I get it. You've got your phone. You got to have something, right? So you go out, and the second time it happens again. You mean to tell me, because you're a UFO enthusiast, look, you were a member of Skywatcher, you got interviewed by Ross Coulthart on News Nation, you got world coverage in the news, etc. Come on. You didn't think of getting good equipment and putting it on tripods? Come on. This doesn't pass the smell test, in my opinion. I am singularly not convinced at all.
Watching this on real time, and you need to go frame by frame, but what you can see is it kind of moves between looking like an insect, like with that ovoid football-shaped head, and then it's like the classic grey head, like the Whitley Strieber communion book with the round bulbous head. And you can see why it looks like an angel, because you see what looked like wings coming out from the side of it. It's quite extraordinary.
Now,
did you see any of that he was saying, even when he slowed it way down and went frame by frame? I didn't see anything like that. And I've watched this clip many times. What is so extraordinary is Ross is determined to make something from nothing. This is not evidence. It's just not. It's not valid. It's a complete wash. I don't see anything to be impressed with in any manner. So I'm gonna, let's get to the petroglyph one. That one just blows my mind, not because it's so incredible, but because it's so ridiculous.
Crush.
And obviously this video was recorded in 2023, but you've been working with a lovely fellow, a fellow Viking, Carl Andreasen, Carl Crusher on YouTube. Recommend his shows, by the way. He's done a lot of work on indigenous pictoglyphs. Now, what's fascinating to me, tell me the story about the pictoglyph that you saw of, you see a shape that is whatever this creature has morphed into. And it is uncanny because it looks like the pictoglyph that you've sent me a picture of that you and Carl Crusher had seen only a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I will admit these pictographs that I also got to see. I have footage probably of this exact same pictograph. I haven't gone through all the stuff yet. We're still in the process of editing all of it. But, you know, you do see a lot of these pictographs out there. So I guess what Mike is doing is comparing that to what he saw in that, you know, area, I guess. I will say the pictographs are very interesting.
Okay, now see, I get to correct myself here. Apparently, this happened in 2023 before he was with Skywatcher. All right, okay, cool. I can live with being wrong. I'm misjudging him in that regard, but at the same time, if you are making daily contact with an entity and you saw how utterly useless your phone video was, wouldn't you invest in better camera equipment? So in my opinion, my point still stands. If you want to disagree with me here and say, yeah, you've gone way over the edge, Shirts, and you've misjudged him and you're wrong, that's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm not here to persuade you. I'm here to show you what bad evidence looks like and horrible methodology, and this is it. So I will back up and say, all right, I was judging him by 2025 Skywatcher standards that they claimed they were trying to establish for this entire year. And this was 2 years earlier before he had those kind of standards. Maybe he's just a sloppy, snot-nosed kid fresh out of the Green Beret and playing with his cell phone, in which case it's still not valid evidence. The thing is, he consistently communicated with them. If you knew you had psionic ability to call in aliens, I can't fathom that you wouldn't take the time during the day to go get really good equipment. Maybe that's just me, but this just doesn't carry any weight with it. That, oh, flip out your telephone. We knew by 2023 we've had years of cell phone pictures that just suck. We've had them from the 1990s on, all the way through the 2000s. If you wouldn't have known that by 2023, you're not ready to play the UFO video, the evidence game anyway. That's my take on all of this. I want to thank Patrick and give him credit for these clips. These particular clips are the ones I would pick too. Do go to that interview. It's a good interview, but it just doesn't help, in my opinion. So that's thanks for watching my Backyard Professor Responds analysis. And as I find more, you know what I'm hoping? And how do you put this? Would someone who has the good equipment and or the psionic ability, would someone please get us some good evidence? Please. Seriously, is that asking too much? Now, I know I've got equipment too. This is going to sound like an excuse, and I apologize. It's the way it is. I've had a very busy summer. I don't have as good of equipment as other people. I do have decent stuff, but I'm serious. It's been cloudy for a long time around here. I just have not had the chance to go get really clear footage. And they say, well, you know, I'm taking this during the day. None of that video was taken during the day. He's taken that at night. And that's what I understood. And people have told me, well, you can do it during the day. Well, during the day, I have stuff I need to get done and do. And I admit, you know, I would like to fob off to someone who has the time a better chance to capture some really good quality evidence. And I don't have time. I will when I retire. But right now, I just can't. I am surprised at how time, you know, in January, February, I was getting out a little bit when I first got my equipment, froze my butt off. But sincerely, there's other more important things to do than spend weeks sometimes out there, because so far as I understand, and I have tried it, I'm not psionically in tune. I can't call these things. There are people who say, well, do the CE5 protocol. You guys who do the CE5 protocol, is it asking too much for you to get some really good quality video? And I mean of actual UFOs, not 747s way up there leaving contrails that are obviously not UFOs. I mean the real thing, not birds and stuff like that. Is that asking for too much? You know, I would love to see a video. Now, this Battiasta gentleman, he is not the only one who has claimed he has seen orbs that morph and change shape and stuff. Is it possible that somebody could get a good video of that? And again, I'm well aware of it. I get on a roll and I read more about these material beings and how they come out of the balls of light and all. And it is the energy shield around them that makes them fuzzy. So there's no way to get good video. But surely someone can do a whole lot better than the junk we just saw? Really? You mean this is all we have to hope for quality? Yikes. Anyway, more to come. Thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe and notification button. Appreciate all your support and help and encouragement. And I will catch up to you just as soon as I get more information to share with you.